All right. That's interesting.
It says we're live.
Now look at that. It does. Over on my Facebook page, just went to my homepage of Facebook. So we are in the wonderful world of trying to figure out how this stuff works. So much fun. And I have no idea where to find out if there is something on. Nate is there. Hey, Nate. He looks very confused.
This is connecting.
Nate, are you able to hear us?
Oh, almost.
He's
Gotta
muted.
unmute your.
I'm going to unmute him. There we go. Try it again.
I can hear.
Ah, we can hear you too. How about that?
Well, it just had me. I was setting up the computer audio. It's like, speak. Do you hear tones? Okay,
Yes.
That's all good.
Cool.
Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you in person after so many emails.
Right, I know. See, I'm not used to seeing you not in your Admiral Kirk Starfleet uniform.
True. Well, you know, it's a weekend, so
I feel like that's the only pictures I see of you popping up on Instagram. Like going to the cons, walking around.
Yeah. Nate, this is that. No. Ah, it's all reversed. That's Zay.
Hello, Zay.
Hi, Nate. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Yeah. How is everybody else? How are you?
Well, holding up in the crumbling world that we're a part of right now.
Yeehaw. Yeah. It's like a carnival of misery.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna real quick double check. We're here a little early, which I appreciate, Nate, that you did that.
I've learned often to not be on time for things like this when technology is involved.
Right. I'm trying to figure out how to make sure that this gets. It says that it's going live. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to double check that here without running into all kinds of weird feedback issues and stuff. So I'm just going to do.
Would it be like? I know Facebook Live, not at all. So I'm sorry, I can't be of that help.
And apparently, my Discord channel doesn't want to load up.
I can see us.
You can see us? All right, cool. Can you just put that link on the Discord channel and maybe shoot it over to Jamie and we can tweet it and stuff? Whatever that link is. Okay. It should be facebook.com/GrayMillerCreative/live. That's what I believe it will be. Nate, we did look up a brief intro paragraph for you, unless there's something specific you want to use.
Oh, I am notoriously bad at introducing myself in any sort of formal fashion.
Okay.
I think it took me like 2 weeks to write the little bio that was going to show up in the back of a book. So
well, it is
I can do a quick little thing, or you can read a thing. I am down with either one.
Well, I would say, we would just use the one that we have, except that I think that, I can't look that way. Basically, I'm trying to figure out there's a way we can look at comments. I don't really see any. So I don't have a place for live streaming comments that I'm finding. So I will ask people to message me in Facebook if they need to. which would probably help if I had that password. Good thing we still have 4 minutes before we actually go live. Plenty of time.
Are you sure? Because it looks like we're on there right now.
Oh, no, we are live, but we're people are watching us be vulnerable and authentic.
Oh,
and,
right.
and,
Oh,
Yeah.
wait,
not polished.
that's what's happening right now?
Yes. Once you can fake authenticity and vulnerability, you got it made. So,
I think that's in the sociopath's guidebook, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Gray's like, once you get down how to have emotions.
yeah.
I am human. You are also.
We should do human things.
You know what's funny, Nate, actually looking up a short bio for you kind of looks impossible because it looks like you've done so much over so many different media. So I would
Have I?
love it if you would feel free to summarize.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll hit the highlights.
Cool. That would be good. And I also, I mean, I have gotten to know you through your work by well over a year just by, Natasha suddenly saying, hey, look at this cool illustration here and
that's
there.
cool.
And
Thank you.
So, yeah. And by the way, you also, we have 2 minutes left. You gave my grandson some encouragement early on. I think I mentioned to you that I did things with my grandson. I gotta say, he's now better than I am. He has kept up his work and he is doing copies and like he showed me a sketch of Iron Man and of Venom in his sketchbook, and I'm like, that is better than anything I could do. And he's 10 years old. So
wow.
I'm like, yeah, it's amazing how a little bit of encouragement will just.
Man, that's awesome. I remember reading in the Artist's Way that line about like the major gift and the minor gift when it comes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like the tome. The minor gift is your natural talent. That's the small part. The larger part is how much you love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I always try to tell like parents who are like, how do I get my kid to keep drawing? It's like, encourage them. How do you get them to keep trying to ride a bike? Come on.
Let them draw. Yeah. I definitely, my parents unfortunately decided to try and really discipline me into playing piano. And from like, I don't know, age 6 to age 8, I mean, it was like hardcore. You have to play, you have to practice, you have to do these things. And I hated it. And so at 10 years old, I gave up. And then at like 16, I fell in love with music again and wanted to learn how to play myself. And so I went back to it. And yeah, it made such a difference.
Right.
When you actually have something that you're enjoying on it.
So, 100% true.
Yep. All right. I really am feeling bad about not being able to see like any chat. Is there, you said you could see us?
Okay, it says we're going live in 15 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hope that we're in the right place.
So so you're broadcasting on Facebook Live and also Discord?
No, I thought we were just doing Facebook Live.
Okay.
But it says we're going live in 15 seconds.
All right.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
It says 0 seconds and we're not appearing.
We're not appearing.
I also see 0 seconds.
Well, isn't that interesting? We may still have to do a little bit of troubleshooting. Where can one of you send me the link where you're seeing that?
It's right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm seeing it on your homepage on Facebook.
Yeah, same.
Gray Miller Creative.
Great.
Right.
All right, I'm looking. I wonder
And
if
when I go to Creative Gray Visual /live, it just takes me to your videos content or /.
Right.
Sorry.
That's weird. I just got a message from somebody on there. All right. Wait, somebody commented on our video that I tagged in. Okay, I found us.
/live, it just takes me to your videos content. Oh,
All
I
right,
can
yes,
hear me.
Matthew, that helps a lot.
Hey, thanks, Matt. That's a friend of mine.
All right, so let's take that link, and that's the
Well,
thing that I was looking for. There we go. Turn down the audio. All right, that's fantastic. So now at least I know how I can see comments and things like that. Okay, I found us.
live is just your video.
And I am hearing myself, but that will stop
It-
if I turn that down. If you have that page up, you may want to
Right.
change that. All right, so we're about 20 seconds delayed, which is good. That's normal. We have a live video, which is also good.
Where is that live video though?
I will put it into the Zoom chat
All right, cool. I can check
just
that
so
out.
that we can all see it. Well, actually, there we go. There it is. That should be the live video feed. Yeah. All right. So thank you, Matthew. I'm glad you've been watching us live. Hope you've been enjoying it.
I don't want to brag, Matt, but I don't think I could be worse at this.
Oh. Okay. We're live. Oops.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm also going to put that into the COVID thing, and we'll see if that pops
Let
up.
me enter from my phone, and I'm, to be honest, a
Yeah.
little about leaving the.
No worries. All right. And put that in there so we get ready. We may have Kelly Sue DeConnick stopping by.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm hoping. If I don't miss her in the waiting room. So, but yeah, we're hoping that will take place. We are live. Here we go. All right, let's start
Well,
talking.
Happy
Art
that you're
stuff.
doing your quarantine with us, Nate.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we're going to talk about, right? It's like, how quarantine has changed everything.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, I know when we talked about this beforehand, Nate. So we should start with introductions. What am I doing? Then I'll go into my wonderful penetrating questions. All right. So I'm Gray Miller. I have been a lot of different things, but in terms of art, I have been a live performer. I was kind of a Glee kid, if you watch that TV show. In high school, and we got Kelly Sue is here too. Hey, Kelly.
Hello.
I'm
Right in the middle.
Unmute her. Unmute audio. There we go. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
You're just in time. We were going into introductions.
Oh,
Ooh.
great.
For Kelly Sue or Kelly?
It's Kelly Sue,
Perfect.
Okay.
but I won't
Perfect.
refuse to answer or anything.
Cool. So we're just going through round robin introductions. My name is Gray Miller. My background started in the performing arts. I have a dance degree from the University of Wisconsin. I've done a lot of video creation and things like that. More recently, I have been focusing more on writing and also hand lettering, calligraphy arts and things like that, because my body doesn't want to dance as much as it used to. So that's me. And I'm also currently the interim executive director of World Builders, which is how I happen to come into contact with all three of these other wonderful people. So that's me. And Kelly, why don't we go right down to you? On my board, you're down
All right.
right there. So can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kelly Sue DeConnick. I am a comic book and television writer. I'm primarily known for Captain Marvel, the run on Captain Marvel that was adapted into the film, and independent book I do called Bitch Planet, which is a satirical look at patriarchal societies, and riffs on exploitation films of the 1970s because, pardon me. I also have a performance background. I have a theater degree from the University of Texas at Austin.
Oh, cool.
I find that that's actually really common in the comics community with theatrical backgrounds. So anyway, yeah, that's me.
Makes sense. Nate, why don't you go ahead and take a stab at introducing yourself?
All right. I'm Nate Taylor. I'm an artist and illustrator. You may know me from such books as The Name of the Wind, where I did the map and a bunch of the new illustrations in the back for the 10th anniversary edition, and also the Not for Children children's book, The Adventures of the Princess and Mr. Whiffle. I'm currently working on several comic books, but the most notable of which is The Boy Who Loved the Moon, an adaptation of the sort of fable story from Rothfuss's second book.
Right on.
Cool.
I've also done a lot of game work too, tabletop, not really video games. So yeah, that's
Hot
me.
stuff. Cool. And Zay?
Yeah, I can't wait to follow up those two. Thanks. So I work alongside Great at World Builders. I'm the assistant director. And my personal art, besides music, I'm just a 2D artist that I do on the side of my full-time job. And I don't have a beautiful long list of things published. However, you will find me in archaeological illustrations.
Ooh,
That is so cool though. Come on.
yeah,
Don't play that down.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and also
Yeah.
right.
Just want to
Oh,
drop
man.
in. Yeah. So I think one of the things that we all have in common, and I think it's for me as a freelancer, I used to work at home until I started working at World Builders, I guess almost 2 months ago now. Kelly Sue mentioned you as a writer, you work at home. Nate, you said you have a home studio, and Zay, I know you have a studio space, in your apartment. And at first thought, the first reaction when people say, well, how has things changed over the, during the quarantine times is to say, well, they haven't. I'm still doing my stuff at home. And I do think that's true. I don't know about the rest of you, but there's a subtle difference in how it feels. There's a difference between choosing to work at home and having to work at home. And also it's very much a difference when everybody else works at home that I know suddenly, that they're like I watch on Twitter and on things like that as people are like losing their minds about, oh my God, I'm working from home. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do. I mean, have you felt any kind of a difference in just the way your role feels being at home?
I mean, I haven't been privy to other people. I don't know. I've been kind of amazed actually at how everybody's kind of rolling with it. The anxiety that I've seen expressed hasn't been about working at home. It's been about the virus and people's health concerns and concerns about our ability to trust in our leadership. I haven't been privy to a lot of concerns about how to work at home. But there are people whose jobs don't allow them to work at home who are losing income, and I've seen a lot of anxiety around that, and that's real and scary. And I think this is a time when we need to be looking out for each other. I think the thing I have in common with more people than anything else as far as an adjustment element goes is I have 2 school-age children who are now at home.
Yeah.
So rather than having all of this time I'm trying to fill, my deadlines continue exactly at the same pace. So far, nothing for me has been pushed back or changed in any way, because people still want to consume story when they're at home. And in fact, some people are in a position to consume more story than they ever have before, and to find some comfort in that. So I need to keep providing that. But now I have additional responsibilities to help my children continue their education. And, both my kids have anxiety diagnoses prior to the Coronapalooza. And so,
All the names.
helping, it takes time and presence and energy to help them manage their anxiety in the face of all of the institutions and structures that they're used to being in emergency conditions. So I think that's been the biggest adjustment for me, is not trying to do my work at home or trying to do my work at home when other people are trying to do their work at home. That's been a complete non-issue. For me, that it's been trying to do my work at home while taking care of new additional responsibilities and keeping everybody as chill as possible, for everyone's own well-being. So.
Makes sense.
Nate,
Yeah.
how would you elaborate on that in whatever way?
I mean, that's 100% the same. Everyone's been asking me how I'm holding up. And the biggest difference in my life is that I can't go to Starbucks anymore.
Yeah.
It's like all those cafes are closed. Like Gray said, working from home is you can't go anywhere else now because everything's closed or not allowing people to gather. My wife is actually at home now too, and she's a teacher. And so she's on the other end of that, where she's trying to help the students keep learning, but they're stuck doing like review. They're not learning new things anymore. It's just review the stuff that you've been doing. And adjusting to the whole working remotely thing for her is astronomically different. There's no more standing and teaching, no more instruction, no more classroom management. It's just providing material and interacting with students to make sure that they're doing okay. But it's a lot more interacting with parents, because parents are now the teachers too.
Yeah.
They're like, they're much more hands-on because they have to be. And it's just like, I can't even imagine. It's got to be exhausting. I'm lucky in that I don't have kids yet. I've got one on the way, but
Hey,
I don't. Yeah.
Positive.
Woo! In
when
June.
you guys too.
Huh? Yeah.
in
The middle of June. Yeah. So it's going to be like, we don't know how things are going to be. How many people are going to be allowed in the delivery room? Are parents going to be able to come see? It's going to be really weird with this whole thing going on. But
It's gonna be really weird, but it's going to be amazing.
yes, we're so looking forward to it.
Yay.
And we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Everybody's like, "What are you going to have?" Don't know. We're finding out later. When we have the baby.
A human.
Make some people crazy. Yes, right. I'm actually like dragon. Maybe that'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
Good luck with that.
Right.
I got two dragons, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm a dragon. My dad's a dragon. I'd rather not pass it along.
Bad news, Nate. There's these things called genetics that.
No. No, I just mean Chinese zodiac wise. This kid's gonna be a mouse, rat. Yeah, that's what we're in, right?
Gotcha.
So anyway, the whole work from home thing is just really bizarre, and I've been feeling very fortunate in that, like Kelly Sue said, work keeps coming in because people still want to create, they still want to read comics, they still want to play games. So yeah, but I feel really bad for friends who work at grocery stores, retail stores, and they still have to go in and deal with people coughing in their faces or losing hours and money and rent.
Yeah.
And that's just
I'm right now, my trainer, it can't work and doesn't make any income while he can't work. And so I'm like, I put together a spreadsheet, just a bullet point list of like all of the workout equipment I have in my house, and was like, write me something so I can work out at home, and then I will just Venmo you. So trying to those of us who are lucky enough to still have income coming in try to figure out ways to continue to support the people that we ordinarily support, as we're trying to continue our lives. Because like my workout time is really precious to me and really has a lot to do with my ability to manage my own anxiety, which is not, super clinical, but is nonetheless a thing.
Oh, it's really good.
Sorry, I turn my notifications off there.
Okay. One of the things that, and especially I feel like this is going to be kind of surreal for like Kelly Sue, you've written in Bitch Planet, you kind of portray a dystopian society, or maybe you portray our society highlighting some particularly dystopian aspects of it.
Yeah.
And suddenly I see a lot of people that are like, I thought that my dystopian outfit would look like something from Mad Max, and instead it's sweats and a hoodie, that kind of thing.
Your night flannels.
Yeah. And I guess my question is kind of like, how does the state of the world and things like that, does it affect what you're able to create? Or, are you like feeling like you need to create cheerful things, or you don't want to create anything because what's the point? Or, I mean, I realize, and I'm not talking about, I know you have deadlines and stuff like that. I'm saying about your personal feelings about creation. Does it affect what you're creating?
100%. But I mean, I'm sorry, I've been that way for like the last 3.5 years.
Oh, okay. I liked your wash your hands thing you did.
Yeah. I mean, the 2016 election kind of knocked me on my ass. I didn't get a comic book out for like a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, I focused on television at that point, so it wasn't like I wasn't working, but in particular, Bitch Planet became really difficult to write. And it's, it's the book that everybody wants. So, I get 2 or 3 emails a week asking me, is it coming back? I'm like, yes, someday. But we do have issue 11 done. So I don't know. It's a thing. There's a lot to say with that book, but there's also a lot more pressure to get it right,
Yeah.
And it's very important to me that it not be depressing. So that's a thing to watch. And then look, in Aquaman, I have a pandemic storyline that I am in the middle of, and the first issue just came out Wednesday. And that was not, that was not on purpose. That was not, that was just a real weird coincidence. But now I have some responsibility to finish that storyline out in a way maybe that I had not intended. So there's some rethinking happening on the fly here, because suddenly it carries a lot more weight and there's a lot more responsibility with it, because there's no way it's going to be read differently. Yeah. It's not, I've had a couple of friends tell me, like, just do what you planned because it's not your fault. And I'm like, well, yes, but also I have this space now. And I need to figure out if there is something I can do with it to make sure that I'm not at least adding to anybody's misery.
Right. It's not an abstract anymore. It's a visceral experience for everyone.
Yeah. So I have to rethink how I'm handling that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's like the issue that just came out was like, how are they handling the great sickness with quarantine? And it was just like,
Yeah. Nate, could you elaborate on that as well? Do you feel, as someone with a large audience, responsibility in the content that you release, especially like pertaining to what we're going through right now?
Sure. I mean, first, I'm not even sure how much of an audience I have. I'm fairly low key when it comes to that thing, but I always think of things in terms of like how I'm making the world better with what I'm doing. So I don't like to draw a lot of depressing stuff. And lately, like the more serious or angry or edgy my art is, the worse I feel about it. And so I want to do something that's like, this is fun and fluffy. Yay, here we go. More cartoony. Like I've got this, stuffed rabbit and this like buff wild princess comic that I'm trying to put together because it's what's making me feel less dark about the world. So, but that said, I'm also working on a comic with a friend of mine, another Pat, and that's one's going to be like a farcical space adventure where it's like basically if Trump took over NASA, what would it look like in 50 years? So it's
my perfect reaction is, what do you mean if?
Oh, the writer has done such a great job with it. Pat Johnson is just, he's taken so many liberties. So it's just, that's like the thing that we do when we're frustrated, and it's like you draw the comic instead of punching the wall. So but yeah, it's really rough to make something edgy. And in my mind, I don't think edgy is, or dark. I should say. I don't know. I like lighter fare right now because for my own mental health.
I remember I had a dance professor, a guy named Douglas Rosenberg, and I was alone in my cohort of dancers in that I tend to choreograph happy and hopeful and, groups coming together kind of things. And everybody else was sort of full of the whole, angst that freshmen and sophomores do. And at one point he just looked at me, he said, "Happiness is overrated." And my response, which was perfect and not totally unplanned, I shouldn't have credit for it, but I said, "Yeah, well, misery is easy. There's plenty to write about misery. There's plenty to create about misery." Making it something like, and taking something that is miserable and then making it not depressing. Like Kelly, so you talked about that with Bitch Planet. That seems to be that's a real hard trick.
It's a lot about anger, and I don't want to dismiss anger. And there's a lot of hardship in it, and not everybody's going to make it through. But what keeps it from being depressing to me is there has to be a kernel of hope. You have to have a sense, and I suppose a sense of humor as well. But you have to have a sense that in the case of Bitch Planet, the women are going to win in the end. It's going to be hard, and the question is how they're going to win and what cost will they pay, but they will win.
The price.
But I mean, I feel like with that, there's a difference between denial of struggle and baseless optimism or faith that works,
Okay.
And having a sense that this will be hard, but in the parlance of superheroes, Avengers don't limit themselves to battles they know they can win. That I turned my notifications off. I have no idea why I continue to beep. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. So that's night shift is on. Do not disturb is on. I don't know what's happening.
Well, I'm actually curious about how you focus, how you're able to write those things, because I get that you fight the fights that need fighting.
Yeah.
Right? And the ability to stick with that, even though it might hurt to fight, you still know it's going to be better in the end. And I feel so tired often about creating the stuff that's going to hurt, but is going to be better for everyone. I just default to the easier, happy, nothing can go wrong. So how do you
and I'm not saying you do follow what what your guiding principle is, and if you and I think there is everybody needs a little escape, everybody needs a little rest, right? It is, and I think it's on us to balance and when I say on us, in this case, I'm talking about on us as consumers, not on us as creators. It's on us to balance like what we're self-care and like when are we resting and when are we putting our heads in the sand, you know?
Mhm.
And
That's a good distinction.
I think it's you know, everybody's got to rest. Everybody wants a little escape. I play a iOS video game that serves no purpose in my life and takes like I have times I have to be there and do stuff, and it's ridiculous, and it gives me great joy. And you know, and everybody's got to have their thing. And I don't mean to look, the Spartans are overrated, right? What have we learned from that? So you know, don't be a Spartan, be an Athenian. But I guess what I've strayed completely from the question. Like, how do you do that?
I just mean the focus. So I guess what you're saying is like the recharge, the rest, so that you can get back on your feet and do the hard part.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's part of the joy of storytelling is puzzle solving, right? And trying to figure out how can I tell this story in such a way that people feel the stakes are real and they identify with the struggle, but they're inspired and not demoralized by it. That's the puzzle to solve. And you know, and I feel a little dishonest saying it like that because I don't honestly take that approach in the writing. In the nuts and bolts of the writing, I'm not like, is this inspiring? You know, but you know, rather you just kind of follow that capital T truth. And then when you're evaluating, I suppose, then it's like, I don't, and you know, and I also have I don't know if this is a privilege or what the hell this is, but I happen to be an optimistic human being. I can be a very angry human being. I can be a very petty human being on occasion. But I have a baseline optimism that I'm just sort of lucky to have. And I think that's helpful.
Nice.
Can I ask you guys, first of all, I appreciate you talking about how you had to step back after the 2016 election, because I think a lot of women in particular felt that.
Yeah.
You know, as far as, you know, kind of going along with that, in our country, you know, do you guys feel like you have to kind of shut out the news, or are you guys like avidly in there looking up every new update?
I admit to like checking the news often online, but like I used to work for the news also as a photog, as a studio tech. And so I used to see like inside the studio, it's just a business, really. You know, there's like a little bit of like the noble art of journalism still, but mostly it's pay back the investors, make sure the commercial time is filled. And so I watch the news and I just can't. I can't watch the news. I have to.
Perspective.
It was eye-opening. Yes, glad I had that experience. But yeah, I try to only pay attention to the big headlines or do the research myself. I just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know how to follow the news, and taking, I think, breaks from it is it can be harrowing. As I will do sometimes those digital purge kind of retreats, like where you have 3 days without anything, any social media, and like for the first half a day, my brain is like churning and churning, and I'm like, oh, I will do all of these things, and then after about 6 to 12 hours, suddenly I can like just relax into it. And the worst part, I mean, I had it all planned out when I first did it, and what I was not prepared for was coming back into the churn. and having it all just suddenly come and slap me in the face. Uh, like I guess Jared Leto came back from a 12-day retreat to find out that the world had ended basically. And I think that's pretty bad. I'm curious, Zay, because you and I have our art more as our side hustle kind of things. Are you feeling like called to create something specific based around this, or are you having? I'm both feeling like I should be making these inspiring lettering, hand lettered calligraphic things, and also just kind of going, what can I do? How can I should be doing other things to help people, like sewing face masks, um, rather than doing calligraphic lettering. How has that affected your personal practice?
Yeah, art is always kind of my escape. It's not, I don't usually make art that translates the anger or the what's a good word? Maybe the unfairness of the world that I feel sometimes. Rather, my art um, is an escape from that, instead of an expression of that. Uh, but there are some things like for instance, I follow artists doing work for children in cages, referencing the border. And I think a lot about what's going on down there because, the news tends to focus on something because it's highlighted and then it kind of drops it. But those people are still there and they're still suffering. And I wonder what's happening with this. They don't have access to healthcare. So in that way, I think a lot about, I want to contribute, but the truth is actively I don't. With everything that's going on, not knowing if my illness was COVID-19, I find I'm just kind of like isolating myself, getting a little bit of cabin fever and just going online to kind of not think about it. So I haven't been creating with a lot of intention lately. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been finding myself trying to bring the art into little things, like where we sent off thank you notes to people who had donated to help us send off books, and I would use my calligraphic pen to write the thank you notes in order to just get a little bit in there. And I keep on going through the mantra in my head of start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and just because there's this for me especially, I love this. I love the superhero motif. I'm supposed to be the person that figures out the one little thing that suddenly spreads like wildfire and solves everything, and then we go on to the next story arc. Um, and it's conditioned to think of that way, and I see that in the portrayal of, like, here we are. We'll have a vaccine in a month, and then it'll all be distributed, because that's the way it is in the movies, not the way it is in real life. So I think just to take it sort of back down into the practical side of things, what do you use in your space to sort of get yourself out of the outside world and into, it is my time to create something? Like, is there a ritual? Is there a process, a particular beverage or whatever? Like, what is your own personal way to shift that mindset from all that world that's out there into, I'm going to create something? Anybody?
Yeah.
Coffee and music. Yeah. Usually like the kind of trailer music that it's not for a specific movie, but it's been made for, like Three Dogs from, Three Health, something, those groups, Audio Machine, that gets me in the right headspace. And not browsing my phone. Leave that in another room.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I've done two of those social media fasts. And I did the 30-day versions,
Oh my God.
which I
Wow.
actually highly recommend.
Hmm.
And you know, it's really hard at first, and then coming back is amazing because you come back really slowly because like you just don't need it anymore, which is sort of interesting. It takes a week or two for things to get back. I don't know if they ever really go back to where it was before. But yeah, I recommend it right now, but maybe.
I mean, somebody will tell you when you can come out, you know, I just,
Yeah. I mean, it's more about, you know, you're trying to when you eliminate social media, you're making more time to hear the voices in your own head and to interact presently with the human beings that are around you. And right now, everybody's hearing the voices in their own head pretty well, and there aren't that many human beings around you that you can interact with. So I don't know, maybe you need social media as a social tether right now, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I did the Cal Newport version. I've done it twice. I quite highly recommend it. As far as getting in the mood to work, I don't know. I find deadlines sort of manage that for me.
yeah.
I think I have to work whether I'm in the mood to work or not. So
Do you have a preparation ritual anyway, or something, some process that you go through when you're going to start your day?
Theoretically, I do.
Okay.
But whether I do it I have more of one of it when I end the day. When I end the day to go sort of like be present with my children, I shut things down and I have a candle I blow out. So
That's...
I like, you know, this is my work day is over. I'm gonna go be present for the kids.
I think that's really helpful to know about. That's something that I have always fallen victim to, especially I'm lucky now I have a actual office space here in my home. But when I used to be, you know, working, my desk was in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like when you work from home, the work, you never leave work. And it's
Yeah.
really hard not to feel like you need to be constantly on and constantly doing something else, especially if you have a lot of projects going on.
Yeah.
That blowing out a candle is like the perfect, you know,
Yeah.
image and kind of snap. That's really awesome.
Great.
Yeah, and it's another Cal Newport thing, and he also recommends having a thing you say aloud, which I say all done, which is it was a kid thing, right? Like
Right. Yep.
the sign, we used to do baby signing with our kids, and all done. So I blow my candle out and all done.
Is that he wrote Deep Work, and isn't there? Is this from his new one, or which is I think something different?
No, that's from Deep Work.
That's from Deep Work. Okay.
Yeah. And no, I got a few of his up there, I think. But yeah, that's from Deep Work. There's also a book called How to Break Up with Your Phone that I recommend. It's not Cal Newport. The author.
I'm writing it down.
How to Break Up with Your Phone. Here, let me grab it. And this will be funny. I liked it so much I bought multiple copies, so I would have to give away. Catherine Price, the woman's name is.
Gotcha.
And the lovely thing about it is she's funny. So that helps a bit. But as far as starting my day goes, I'm supposed to light the candle to start the workday. I'm supposed to journal when we're not trapped inside of our houses. I get up and go to the gym first thing in the morning. But things are different now, and I have not quite found I'm also like letting myself sleep as much as I need to sleep right now. So I
That's-
slept 12 hours last night. So that kind of screwed up my
Oh,
morning. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You made
So-
me made your morning awesome.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But yeah, it's there's another book I recommend called Why We Sleep. The author's name is Walker. And yeah, and I mean, as long as we're getting into like self-care and
Yeah.
everybody's got time for books right now, theoretically. There's another one called The Joy of Movement. As a former dancer or as a dancer, I think you would really respond to that one.
I don't know if it was you that I saw recommend that, or if that there was someone else. But yeah, I've heard good things about that.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I think moving our bodies and sort of remembering that we live in our bodies is really vital when the work that we do is so ephemeral. Ephemeral is not really the right word, but
Visceral?
intangible.
Yeah. It also has to come from the inside, and I know that the way that having the energy to create or to write something will change based on what I put into my body and what I've done recently.
Yeah. So self-care and like if you need a reminder of why sleep is important, the Walker book is really, really good. So that's been a lot of emphasis in our house lately is, we don't have to, we do need to get up, we do need to get dressed, we do need to keep a schedule, but part of that schedule is going to be sleeping as much as we need to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I notice in all three of the images I see, Zay, I don't know if you're at your place or Dan's right now, but I see like what I would think of them as like talismans almost. Like you have a bear, Nate, in yours, and you have the pink. There's a lot of pink in that room, and fuchsia with like both. My brain wants to make it into a mutant tribble, but that's because I'm a Trekkie. But that big fuchsia thing.
I like color.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular? Oh, wow. An AC/DC. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. My goodness.
That is inspirational and energetic.
Yes. Yeah. So how much did that, I mean, do you pick these things out? What makes something you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's something that I want in my creative space? What are the criteria for that? How do you find them?
Oh, I have so many.
Or pick one thing and tell us the story of it. What is like.
Okay, let's see. All right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you know what this is, right?
Yeah. Oh, man, the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Right.
The Right Stuff. It's Chuck
Yep.
Yep. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a aviation history nerd, and there's a thing in The Right Stuff that every time Chuck Yeager's about to go do something amazing, he asks his crew chief if he has a stick of Beemans, and his crew chief always gives him a stick, and that's like, getting ready to do the thing. And so I can't remember I had some stuff going on and I was kind of overwhelmed by what was before me. And a friend of mine, Chad Collier, who is also an aviation nerd, found some Beemans somewhere and like sent it to me. And it was just like, ah! And it was like, hell yeah, go get them, baby, And
Nice.
yeah, I super loved it. It made me really happy. And so I paid that forward a bit. And when I went to work on Captain Marvel, I took Beemans for Bree and Anna and Ryan and Jonathan who was our producer.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I don't remember if I gave any to Geneva. If I didn't, I owe her some. But yeah, it was that means a lot to me. It's a lot of fun. But I'll post it on Instagram or something. I have a whole ridiculous this shelf that's over top of my computer, so there's no way for me to show it to you. Is nothing but stuff like that. And my husband occasionally sneaks things up there and I don't know that they're there for which is really fun. Like I also, one of my heroes is Hawkeye Pierce. And so
Oh my
look at that.
gosh.
Wow.
right? Who knew there was a
Classic
Hawkeye
edition.
Pierce action figure?
Oh my God.
So I have Hawkeye Pierce, and then also so I did this visualization exercise when I was in college, and I love to tell my husband the story, but it was this thing, where you the guided meditation, and you put all of your concerns in this safe place, and then you walk down to a body of water and you ask for your master teacher to appear. And I'm a theater student, so my master teacher, I'm thinking it's going to be Stanislavski, right? Or I don't know, Del Close, I don't know who, but I'm waiting, and then like George Washington, at the front of this sort of a small canoe-like vessel comes up, and fucking Fonzie. My master teacher is Fonzie, and
You could do worse.
so, I guess the big lesson for me in this life is be cool. So
Yay.
yeah, so
Hey.
and hit oh, that's not weird. So
There we go. Wow.
Oh, that's
Okay.
perfect.
flipped
I
Fonzie
think
up.
you've already won the coolest talismans
The fun.
contest there.
And he
What
doesn't
did he-
he does not look like Fonzie at all, really.
Well, it's the comic book version. He's got the appropriate hair color and face
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah. And the collar up,
And the collar.
which is the big thing. Yeah.
Right.
I
With
actually
those
kinda like
distinctive characteristics.
It's real good jeans. Anyway, all right, that's my stories.
How about you, Nate? What do you want to share with us?
Well, over my shoulder here, that is a Mr. Whiffle that was handmade by a fan named Beth. She gave it
Wow.
to me at at Emerald City Comic Con in 2017. Came up to my table dressed as the princess, like her hair in pigtails, and had a gigantic Mr. Whiffle that she had made, like a size relative, And then she handed me the little one. And hold on, I'm gonna grab it real quick. So both Pat and I got one of these guys, and the eyes come off so that you can change his expression,
Oh,
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 wow.
how
She
nice.
put a lot of care into this, and it's just fantastic. It blew me away. Like when I saw her, I was just like, someone's cosplaying as one of my characters.
Wow.
Oh, that made my whole con. And so ever since then, she's made sure to come and find me, and I'll give her a little Princess and Mr. Whiffle something.
I know.
So yeah, that's, and then over my shoulders, you'll see like other assorted stuffed animals from over the years and Legos. That's like my non-art Zen craft. I put together Legos, and it's a great way to, like disassociate or disconnect, calm down, put my focus on something else. But then after I put it together, I can either bear to take it apart or give it to someone else. So I'm just collecting Legos at this point. And I don't know what else to do. I've got like a whole shelf over here with like full of AT-ATs and ski speeders and, and my Rose Tico collection.
Nice.
Like everybody's like, I got this Rose bobblehead and I don't know anyone who likes her. Do you want it? I was like, yeah, give me the Rose stuff. So yeah, I'm just full up over here. but that's mainly what surrounds me on little odds and ends. But yeah, the Mr. Whipple stuffed animal is easily the best thing I've gotten. Sorry to anyone else who gave me stuff. But all's in your court.
It has to be such a really great feeling of something that you designed and somebody has taken that upon themselves, like it inspired them so much to become that character.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be here. I just thought I was going to do cartoon characters for the rest of my life and, just have, eke by a minimal living. But, to have someone love it so much is just amazing.
Cosplayers are a gift.
Right? And every time I see it, like someone like does something like that, and I'm like, it's like some people, when they receive a compliment, it's like they're being put up on a pedestal. But I don't know, this is like a mental health thing, but like when someone gives me a compliment, it's more like they're taking a brick out of my backpack. And I'm like, oh, thank you. It's not so heavy anymore.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Zay, do you want to try and follow those? I'm sitting here like, well, I have a pen.
No, I'm actually at my boyfriend's house and he can see me, so I'm not sure how embarrassed he'll be right now, but he gave me plants.
Oh.
And it says, Ivy really been thinking about you a lot.
Oh, that's so good. Nice.
Wow.
I'm red hot right now because he's over there giving me like a no.
Now the world knows.
Wow. Yeah, I don't I don't have any. Okay, actually, you know what? I will put up. This is something that helps me out. This was our recent program we did with. This is not a plug, by the way. This is actually something I put up because the program's almost over anyway, so that's definitely not a plug. But we were trying to figure out how to make things for world builders to help people out, and we thought, hey, we have books. People need to stay home. We put together this Book Drop 2020 program, and it just was a way to send free books to people. Did nothing more than that. But in particular, this guy Bradley W. Schenk has a website called Webimator, and it makes these kind of pulp fiction things that I've always loved. This kind of like the Rocketeer stuff. I've always loved this aesthetic, and being able to create this on his website, and then he gave us permission to have a high-res version, so we could I could print it out and have it right next to me. So just having this kind of reminds me that what I'm doing is doing some good to somebody somewhere. With, like I said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. So that I find that kind of inspiring. And when I look at it, I actually go, yes, I can both take this thing that I love, this whole genre of science fiction and things like that, and channel it into something that's not going to solve any problems, but it's going to make somebody's life a little bit better. And
That's amazing. That's all we can really do.
Exactly. Getting out of the I have to solve everything and I have to make a huge splash. Not that you two haven't, but I think that both Zay and I just Zay's artwork, which I will say you should go to her Instagram because it's amazing artwork. It really is.
Plug your Instagram. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Zay
and actually
email or at Insta. Oh my God, guys. Everything Zay Olsen.
Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
it again.
Zay Olsen. It's the same name that's in the
Okay.
corner.
DAYOLSEN.
ZAY. Yeah, like Sabra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
We're all workers among workers, right? Anything else is ego. So we're all
Right.
doing our part. Every string in the tapestry is vital.
Mhm.
So
And I want to give a shout out to the reason why we are doing this. We were asked to do this by Suzanne Maple, Dasu Dragon, who organized this COVID Con, which was a Discord and Facebook group to try and bring together artists who were affected by the cancellation of so many conventions.
Oh, man.
It affected. Zay and I were prepping really hard to do our first two conventions with World Builders,
I know.
both of which immediately got canceled. The first professional art exhibition that I was accepted to just got canceled in Seattle. And so we see a lot of people that are trying to find out how, they make their primary living from the cons. And I think it's interesting seeing these groups just come together and work to try and support each other in whatever way we can.
Yeah, that has been really amazingly reassuring, is seeing everyone just like dogpile and say like, how can we help you? Share, repost, retweet.
Mhm.
That's great.
But-
I mean, maybe this isn't completely you guys, but I think people tend to equate, the fame with the fortune, and especially like the comic book world, just because you're published and everyone knows your stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're rolling in the dough. So for a lot of those artists, where their income comes from those cons and selling directly, it's really, I think every tiny little thing that we do, it just makes a difference.
So we're reaching the end of the time. What's the best way for people to find your stuff? Kelly Sue, where can people find more of your stuff online?
You can find my comic books on Comixology, and you can just search my name, Kelly Sue DeConnick, DeConnick. You can also go to my website, is milkfed.us, milkfed.us. I'm on Twitter at Kelly Sue and on Instagram at Kelly Sue D.
And I'll also say MilkFed has a great newsletter that brightens my day. So
yeah,
thank you for
we're trying
that.
to do more of those during the COVID palooza. So we did one on Thursday. I think we're going to try to do Thursdays and Sundays ish.
Yeah,
So.
it was a very happy thing to find in my my email box. So
Right
Nate, where can we find your stuff?
Well, you can find me at natentaylor.com. That's my portfolio site that desperately needs to be updated. You can find more recent work at Nate and Taylor on Instagram, and on Twitter at Major Sheep. You will find me posting approximately once a week because I mostly just get on there to follow people and look at what they're posting, because they're all much more interesting than I am in print.
Twitter's a cesspool. You're wise to avoid it.
It is often.
It's really kind of a tire fire sometimes, and I just am equal parts glad to be there and glad that I don't have to interact with it that often. I feel really bad for people like, I don't know how people like Gail Simone have the energy to just keep
she's just
pumping out this stuff. Yeah,
she's
it's amazing. So that's probably my number 2 reason for being on Twitter, is just to watch her go.
Zay, where can we find your art and stuff like that? We already talked about your Instagram. But...
Yeah, Insta, I think I don't have a website anymore. So Instagram, Zay Olson at Instagram is my only plug I got.
Gotcha. And my stuff is at creativegray.me. And also I do have a handmade Amazon store called the Inebri Gallery, INEBRI. Which is because when I was in Madison, I was part of a group called the Inebriated Illuminators. So we decided Inebri sounded like a really fun place. So, and I also, again, want to give a shout out to Suzanne Maple at Dasu Dragon Designs for doing the COVID Con and giving us the impetus to just talk about this stuff and put it out there. And I really appreciate you. Both of you, Kelly Sue and Nate, thank you so much for taking the time. Zay, as always, thanks for working with me on this.
Yeah, I'm gushing. It's really great to meet you guys.
It's really been great, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for
to talk about too.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks
Right.
All
right. Bye, everybody.
Probably need to stop the live stream.